Lori is one of the new members of our tribe, and she's actually the only author uh, of our ivory skin sister. And she is an advocate for women who are in prison. And she's also an advocate for racial reconciliation. And she catches a lot of flack in her circles from people who look like her, who don't understand her involvement in Black Lives Matter, in the marches. I've seen you out on protests. I'm not even out on protests, but I'll get to go online and I see you out there in Wisconsin on protests of Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, that's our tribe member right there. So we keep you in prayer because, you know, they understand why Black people are, no, they don't necessarily understand why Black people are marching, but they don't understand why some white people are siding and saying, yes, there's injustices here. They would prefer you all to stay quiet. You know, this is the way the country's always won, and it's the way it's always going to be. And they look at anybody who is out for change, and they kind of give them that side eye. But I'm sure part of your research for Knight of Birmingham was you were the research on that white woman that was killed by the Klan when she went on the civil rights marches. She drove down there and they killed her on the way back. So that was one of the things that you were putting in your book about, you know, the support isn't, it isn't, support is coming from all over. And that is an awesome thing for us to know that it isn't just us that's seeing it. We can't see why everybody can't see it, but we're glad that some people outside of people of color can see that the injustices that are constantly being rained down for no good reason, the laws that have been put in place that are not necessarily in our best interest. So on that note, I'm going to bring in Lori. I'm gonna turn it over to you so you could do your thing with JD Mason.
Well, thank you for having me again, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here among such greatness. All of you. Today's like major fangirl day. I loved hearing the few authors that were prior to this, so it's been a great pleasure. And you know, on behalf of my entire race, I apologize for all of the adversity that you guys have to face on the daily. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's my mission in life to make the world a better place for our kids. I don't think there's much I can do to change it for us today, but it's definitely, you know, something I want to change for the next generation, for the generation that I'm part of raising. But with that said, so thank you again for having me, and I'm super excited to introduce you to JD Mason. JD Mason is the author of more than 20 novels. She's a recent recipient of the African American Literary Awards show winner for Best Mystery and Suspense. Her work has appeared on bestseller lists for Barnes & Noble, the Denver Post, Dallas Morning News, and Amazon.com. In addition, she has also been featured in USA Today, Essence, Pride Magazine in the UK, and Today's Black Woman. JD's most recent release is a pretty special one, if you ask me. It is the 20th anniversary edition of And on the 8th day she rested. So congratulations on that, because 20th anniversary is pretty spectacular. And today she's going to be treating us to a reading from a work in progress. So we get a little bit of a sneak peek. So join me in welcoming JD to our panel.
Thank you so much. You know, I was gonna do a work in progress read, and then I decided, you know, I think I might not do that just because if people like it, they're gonna be kind of pissed that they can't get it.
Well, we like cheese.
In honor of a very good friend of mine, Unique, who who has a crush on one of my characters from an older book, I'm going to read from Seducing Abbey Roads, and I'm going to feature Mr. Jordan Gatewood. So let's see. This is the book, in case you haven't read it. This is Seducing Abbey Roads. And this is a very fun scene. I really love this chapter, so I'm going to read from this. Every year, for as long as Abby could remember, her family held a cookout in September for her birthday. Every year, every cousin, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, and in-law showed up to partake in her father's famous smoked brisket and ribs, barbecue chicken, hot links, burgers, and hot dogs. His oldest sister, Auntie Rue, and her younger sister, Amelia, came bearing tubs of their to-die-for macaroni and cheese, potato salad, turnip greens, and homemade biscuits. Everybody else bought food, and in the end, it was a feast fit for the gods with enough to feed the battalions for weeks. Come on, T, Abby shouted, out of breath and frustrated, walking back to her team from the end zone. I was wide open. She was 37 years old today, and for the last 37 years since the first time they let her play in the Rhodes family traditional touch football game, which had started in honor of her birth, she'd been chasing the one birthday present that had always eluded her, a touchdown. Abby had never once in all her years of playing this game scored one single point, and her legacy was turning out to be downright embarrassing. She made it back to her team, which consisted of her 26-year-old cousin Taurus, who played quarterback, and 5 other cousins, male and female, ranging in age from 10 to 30. I know you saw me, she said, frustrated, planting her hands on her hips and rolling her eyes. Abby had been standing in the end zone by herself, jumping up and down like a fool, yelling, I'm open, I'm wide open, until she was exhausted. But T's dumb ass had decided to hand the ball off to Marshall, a kid no more than 13 who managed to gain maybe 2 yards before his flag was snatched. Taurus was about to call the next play when Abby interrupted. I'm wide open, T, she reminded him. Nobody's covering me. That's because you ain't gonna catch the ball, one of the little assholes blurted out. Abby glared at him. He smirked and looked away. All right, T said, motioning everybody to huddle close. I'm keeping this one. Try to at least get the first down. Abby was livid. You keep just about all of them, which is why this drive has lasted as long as it has, he shot back. She shook her head. So she wasn't the fastest one on the field. She certainly wasn't the best blocker, and her pass coverage was so-so, but still. All I'm saying is for us to take advantage of the situation, she reasoned. They're not covering me because they don't think I'll catch it. She glared at the kid who'd said it, which is exactly why it'd be a smart move to throw it to me. Everybody looked at each other and then finally back at her. Y'all hurry up, someone shouted from the other team. Nah, man, another baby cousin groaned. Just run the play you just called. Would you be quiet? She retorted to the kid. I'm keeping it, T reiterated. They broke huddle and took their positions across from the other team. T faked a handoff, kept the ball, turned to run, and just like that, his flag was snatched. Nice call, she said sarcastically. So she was a sore loser, a really good one. Who's that? Anybody know who that is? Abby knew who he was, and she had been up praying all night that he wouldn't show up here today. She must have done something terribly wrong to offend God. Here it was, her birthday. Her blue team was losing in the most embarrassing way to the red team, and multimillionaire CEO of a huge corporation, Jordan Gatewood, pretending to be Jordan Tunson, shows up at her football field. After talking to Taurus, he took the football from him and suddenly became the quarterback of Abby's team. It took everything in her not to cry. They changing players? Abby's brother, Rao, asked one of the cousins. The cousin shrugged. They could bring in Jesus, man. It doesn't matter. And he was right. Jordan motioned for his team to huddle and knelt on one knee. You all know that you're not winning this game, right? Everybody nodded except Abby. Dealing with Jordan off the field was one thing, but having him here at the house where she'd grown up on her birthday was something else. Her father shouldn't have invited him, and he should have had the decency to decline when he did. But she knew that from the look in his eyes last night when he accepted the invitation, that the only reason he'd done it was to get under her skin. And Jordan turned his attention to Abby. Nobody's covering you. Because she can't catch, that portly little cousin of hers said again. Abby glared at the little boy. How would you know if nobody ever throws me the ball? She shot back. If they think you can't catch, then we need to use that to our advantage, Jordan said calmly. It's not that they don't think she can't catch, the boy continued. She really can't catch. Jordan looked at Abby, who immediately looked away. No one had thrown her the ball in like years. Back when they had thrown it to her, she tried to catch it, but because of one reason or another, she hadn't. So since then, nobody would throw it to her. I want you to get in the end zone, Abby, Jordan continued. He was still watching her. She could feel it. And I want you to wait. What do you want us to do? One of the kids asked. You get to the end zone too. The rest of you keep the other team off me, he said simply. Abby's gaze slowly drifted to Jordan. I'm putting it in the air, sending it right to you. All you have to do is wrap your arms around it when it comes, he said. He was going to throw her the ball. A lump formed in her throat. Abby's stomach filled with butterflies. Tell me you can do this, he asked her. Abby took a deep breath and nodded. This was it. This was her chance, her shot, finally to prove all these people wrong, that she wasn't the worst player on the field. That's what they all thought. That's why she was the last one to be picked and why no one trusted her to run with it or catch the football. The general attitude where she was concerned was just stay out of the way, Abby, which was horrible because she was the most passionate player on the field. We know you can build a skyscraper, Peanut, but you suck at sports. Everyone took their positions on the field. As soon as that ball was snapped and Abby took off running, she didn't look back. It was just that she was just out there by herself, running toward the end zone at the end of the yard because no one thought of her as enough of a threat to cover. And then she stopped, turned back to her quarterback and waited. Jordan ran left, pumped the ball once, but didn't let it go. Her brother nearly had him, but Jordan twisted out of the way just before he could grab a hold of one of Jordan's flags off his hip. Jordan ran right and then let it go. Abby watched the ball sail through the air like a bird coming right at her. The sounds of voices faded. She locked onto the ball, held out her arms, and then just as it began to descend into her arms, she closed her eyes. No! Someone shouted. Time stopped. What had happened? Silence. And then, slowly, she opened her eyes and realized that she had that ball squeezed tight against her chest. Abby had scored, and no one was more shocked than she was. What the? Whoa, the mouthy cousin said, standing and staring mesmerized at her. Oh, she murmured. Finally, that's my baby, she heard her dad call out, clapping. He whistled, you did it, baby girl, you did it, Peanut. And she had. Yes, she yelled, spiking the ball and then jumping out of the way before it hit her in the face and ricocheted back up. Woo, she pumped her fist in the air. Abby ran to her brother. What, fool, she said, taunting him. Really? He shot back sarcastically. You know your team still lost. She shook her head, patted her hand against her chest, kissed two fingers, and raised them to the sky. It was as if she was a sore loser, she was obviously an even worse winner. Abby skipped, did cartwheels, jumped, and ran to each person on both teams, taunting them and thrusting her personal victory into each and every one of their faces. They'd had no faith in her. They'd written her off years ago, and now she had just proven them all wrong. Laughing, jumping, and skipping, she made her way over to the tall and beautiful Jordan, whatever the hell his last name was, who had vision and faith in her in a way no one else ever had. And without thinking or hesitating, without realizing what she was doing, Abby hurled herself into his arms, wrapped both legs around him, and kissed him flush on the mouth. And just like that, she snapped out of it. Their eyes met, her mouth gaped open, and Abby slowly lowered herself back to the ground and stared up at him in disbelief, in shock and awe. I am so sorry. Could she just faint, or better yet, could she just curl up and die right here in this yard at his feet at this very moment? Please. Abby abruptly broke eye contact, turned, and walked back toward the house and went inside. She was never coming out again.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to share the screen for a hot second. Tell us a little bit about these books right here.
The three on the bottom are all, I wouldn't say they're a series. They're connected though. They're all connected, especially Abbey Rose and A Woman Trapped in the Dark, the pink one and the blue one. But they're all connected stories set in Blink, Texas, mostly in Dallas. I just read from Abbey Rose. That is the second book in the series. The first book is the 20th anniversary release of And on the Eighth Day She Rested. And Without a Song is the 20-year reunion of those characters from that first book, And on the Eighth Day She Rested. And Drop Dead Gorgeous is a part of another series called Beautiful, Dirty, Rich. So it's the second book in that series.
Awesome, awesome. So
if we got time, I mean, I will read from the work in progress if we want to do that. Want to do that? Okay, I'll do that real quick. Okay, brand new book. Working on it now called Broken Glass. And basically it's a story of, let me move my screen out of the way. Basically it's a story of a washed up actress who's moved to a new town called Devastation, Louisiana. And she's trying to find herself and figure out what her new life is going to be. But this is how she got there. She just left Atlanta. She got fired from a reality show. And here she is. She's feeling really bad about herself. Terry stopped to get gas on her way to Houston, to the sanctuary of her best friend's guest house, where she'd hide her shriveling soul from the rest of the world until she could figure out what she wanted to be when she grew up. Terry left Atlanta 6 hours ago, and a stomach growl alerted her to the fact that she hadn't eaten since yesterday. Her empty belly led the way to Irma's, a hole in the wall just off the highway at the edge of town. Devastation, Louisiana. The irony wasn't missed on her. That devastated Terry should land here was fate's cruel joke, laughing in her face, adding insult to injury. But the food was delicious, magical even. Creamy buttered grits, thick, savory, black peppered bacon, cheese, eggs harmonizing in her mouth, and pancakes with butter cooked inside gave her the kind of joy she hadn't experienced in forever. More coffee? Terry's appreciative gaze lifted to meet the angel standing over her with a fresh pot of God's nectar, and as she held her cup in between her hands. Yes, please, she answered. Are you Irma? The loveliest smile spread the woman's lips. I am. Terry melted even more in her seat. Everything is so delicious, she said, perhaps a bit too passionately. Full cheeks blossomed on Irma's pretty round face. Well, we always like to hear that, she chuckled. You need more cream, honey? Oh, yes, she said, inhaling the rich aroma wafting from her cup. And some more orange juice, please. Of course. Irma leaned her head to one side, propped her hand on her hip, and studied Terry. You look familiar. You from here? A moment of truth. A year ago, Terry would have gushed inside like a volcano that a random stranger would recognize her, and quite humbly, she'd tout her achievements, probably sign a few autographs, and then walk away shining like a bright star with the affirmation that she still mattered. No, she responded simply. I'm just passing through. She'd focused on one thing on the drive from Atlanta. Terry fixed her mind on coming to terms with that who she used to be was not on that highway. She'd made up her mind that that life, the career she had convinced herself she couldn't live without, no longer existed. Terry drove away from the past and onward to something else. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Boy, can't wait for that one to come out.
I'm excited. It should be pretty good.
Yeah.
I've got a question. I'm going to open it up to make sure any tribe people, your biggest, and she's not hyperventilating, your biggest fan is probably on this screen with you right now. Even to choosing her pen name, using initials, she wanted to emulate you in every way. So I'm going to let her throw in a few and then give it back to Lori, because she's been waiting patiently, like, yeah.
Hey, buddy.
No, it's not even like that. But one question I do have, like when you're like Blink, Texas. So when you're naming some of your towns, and I know some of them have been fictitious, and then of course you have those that are actual towns. What inspires you to name those fictitious towns?
The towns to me are as much a character as the people. So I'm inspired by the names come just because I want to give them a personality. I want to give that town a personality. So Blink and Miss It, Texas is just this little spit of a town in Texas. You blink and you miss it. Devastation, Louisiana. I like the irony of it, and it's just little small towns. Small towns come with big drama. And I love small town drama because because it is small, it's magnified. So the towns are, like I said, just as much a character as the people in the books.
Gotcha. And I think the only other question I'll ask, and then I'm gonna put it back in Lori's hands. So you started off self-publishing, then you went to your traditional publishing, then now you're back kind of, self-publishing. Like speak about how you're doing with that and how you're embracing that, being back self-publishing.
I struggle with it. I struggle with it in a big way because part of me, I've been traditionally published for 16 years, and then to not have that anymore. I think the last 2 years have been very emotional years for me on how to adapt to my new life. I still have books with publishers. I mean, I'm kind of a hybrid, but now it's like, okay, I have had to come to terms with some things that were really hard for me to accept and deal with. And now that I'm to that place, now I'm at a point where I'm better now than I probably ever was when I first got published, emotionally, spiritually. So it's been tough. I'm still trying to navigate this whole self-publishing thing. I've got a publishing company and I've got 23 titles that are mine that I can put out. And so now it's just figuring out, how do you do that? You know, in this self-publishing world is very difficult. It's not easy to navigate. And, you know, I get frustrated. So it's a learning curve, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy.
Well, there is one more question in the chat. And so I'll go ahead and ask it for Karen. It says, where did the inspiration for Roberta come from in Don't Want No Sugar? She loved that book and she loved that character.
Roberta is she's one of the darkest characters I think I've ever written. And I think I liked the dark characters. And I can't tell you where the inspiration came from. I just wanted to create a character that was a little insane, a little evil, and that's somebody that maybe you could feel even a little empathy for if you really reached hard, deep enough. You know, that she's just this amazing character that I really hated letting go of. So yeah, I can't remember where it came from because it was so long ago. But yeah, she was amazing. She was outstanding. Her and Uncle was bad too. The bad ones are the best ones.
They are fun to write. I love reading them, so I can only imagine how fun they are to write.
Oh yeah.
JD, where can we find you?
I am on jdmasonauthor.com. That's my website, and then you can find me on Twitter, author JD Mason, I think is what it is, and Instagram and all of that stuff. So I never memorize it, but check the comments. I think my assistant posted the giveaway link to Magic Wanda. So hopefully people go in there and get it. It's a good book. It's a good short book. It was written in 2 hours. So it was fun though.
Excellent. Cool. Well, I love, Lisa said in the chat, small town, or repeated what you said, small towns come with big drama. And I love that you said that because part of my day job is driving around 5 states. I have to go through all the small towns. I stay off the highways because I have to hit every small town that I can. And every time when we're traveling for a family, every time we go through a small town, especially in Wisconsin, I'm like, man, I said, when I retire, I want to move to all of these small towns and just live there for a month and get to know all the locals. And my husband's like, Laura, you will never make it in any of those small towns. I'm like, but I can fake it till I make it at least for a month because there's so much that you can pull from that. You know, I could just make up stories in my head while I'm driving through. It's too bad I can't record my brain.
I was born in Paris, Texas. I still have family in Paris, Texas. There are stories. Every time I go back, I get stories from some family member about stuff that you would think that did not happen. Really weird. And I'm like, that is crazy. But it's real. And I love that. I wouldn't want to live in one because I think it would just be like living under a microscope. But the drama is crazy good.
So much drama. There's nothing else to do.
No, that's it.
Very good. Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to ask, I know the self-publishing has been a little bit challenging. What has been your saving grace at doing it? Because you've with a major house for so many years. And what has been the upside?
The upside is autonomy. I get to write what I want, how I want, when I want. I get to release what I want. I mean, I can write a book and say today and say, put tomorrow, say, hey guys, I got a new book out. I love that freedom instead of waiting a year or 2 years for a publisher to put it out. I get to write, like I said, what I want and on a whim. And it's just fun. You know, I think that the challenge for me is the business side. I'm not a business person, I'm a writer. I don't want to be a business person. I'm a writer, but now I'm CEO of a publishing company with a huge list of books that are mine that I need to do something with. So that is the challenge for me. But everything else, you know, having just the freedom to just do what I want, how I want, when I want, that is awesome. So I have a publisher looking at Broken Glass right now. And I would love for some books to maybe stay with publishers, but I don't want all of them to go to publishers. I like having my own thing. I like being able to do my own thing. The freedom of that is pretty amazing. And you make more money, definitely selling fewer books. You know, you don't have to sell back 20,000 books to make back a $10,000 advance or whatever. But so it's got its upsides, you know, but I'm just having to get organized and not be overwhelmed, because I very much am overwhelmed. I got 7 books I want to write, but I got it in between there, try to figure out how to publish 23. I don't know how to do this. So it's just challenging. And this week, you know, starting this week, I started to like, okay, let me start to make this thing, pull this in and make this what I need it to be, so that I can produce and be functional and not go crazy. So that, yeah, it's got an upside. It does. It absolutely does. It's just, I think more of it is me. It's just me.
Wow. Also, you hired on a VPA. I had to do that earlier this year. In January, we brought in your angel VPA because I realized I cannot do it all.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience and how that has been a help to you with tell about who your VPA is, as well as how she's been assistant to you.
Jamina Harris, who runs Virtually Talented online assistance services, is you know, she knows more about what I need than I know. I'm one of those people. It's like, well, you know, why would I hire somebody to do that? I could do that myself. You know, it's just easier. It's just like, that doesn't make sense. I could do that myself. I could post that. I could make that. I could do this. And then what happens is, after a while, you realize, you know, yeah, you can, but do you have to? You know, so we are in the process now trying to. I think the issue for me with Jamina, even though she's been very helpful, is me trying to figure out how I can use an assistant. You know, I think that it's awesome that we can all, you know, to have help, you know, and I think that everybody should reach out for help. Don't think you can do all this by yourself, because it is too much. But figure out what help you need and how it's going to best benefit you. So we are actually restructuring. We're going to be working on restructuring where I need her the most, and moving forward, how to use her service to help manage, organize, and grow my business. So it is a positive thing. I got 2 things this year. I got a virtual assistant and I got a life coach. And I love having a life coach and a virtual assistant. I love them both. And it's like, I'm one of those people, I don't ask for help. I don't ask for help. And here's this first time this year, it's like, okay, I'm going to kind of reach out and start asking for help. And I think that if nothing else, you know, going forward, if I could give anybody any advice, if you need help, ask for it. Mental health help, organization help, business help, assistant, whatever you need, ask for it, and get people on your team. And so it's a hard road for me because I'm not that person, but it is such an enlightening, such a wonderful feeling to, you know, when I meet with my coach, to sit and talk to her for an hour and it's about me. And she's listening and she's trying to help me to structure me. So those are 2 things I would say I'm super grateful for as far as assistance this year.
Let's talk about your part of the tribe. And you were with the major house and you already are established and you have a big following, all of these. What has the tribe done? Why do you need the tribe, or why was the tribe how has it been beneficial for you?
I've learned a lot because I did come from a major house. I mean, there were a lot of things. I honestly, when I self-published 20 years ago. It was a whole different world back then, right? A whole different world. Social media wasn't what it is now, and so that was you know, and we had a grassroots type environment. We, you know, the black bookstores, the book clubs, and it wasn't like it is now. The tribe has shown me what is now available on social media as far as promoting and getting your word out about your books. That stuff I didn't know it was out there because I had a publisher. I mean, yeah, I did some marketing and publicity on my own, but for the most part, I let them handle it. And I'm gonna tell you now, even if you do get a publisher, don't just depend on your publisher to do your marketing. do whatever you can in addition to, if you get a publicist, which I had publicists, work closely with them, and definitely, you know, put your suggestions out there, because sometimes, I mean, I had an editor tell me that most of these big publishing houses don't know how to market Black books. So but the tribe has been helpful, and I've learned a lot of things, you know, new outlets, new venues of where and how to promote books. I am inspired by how hard everybody on the tribe works. I am inspired by how you guys all come together. I have to admit, I am not a good tribes person. I know I'm not. I'm gonna admit that to y'all right here on national internet, right? I know this, but I am always in awe of you guys. I really am. I think you guys are amazing, and it's gonna make me cry because I think you guys are pretty freaking phenomenal. And I can't keep up, and I'm sorry I can't keep up, but what you do for each other is outstanding. So you keep doing what you do. You keep encouraging. You keep shining. You keep moving. You keep growing, because you guys are all very talented and you deserve all the success.
See, that's out.
Stop. You stop.
Okay. I'm glad I'm not wearing mascara.
the last 2 hours, so.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I was not expecting that. I know we throw a lot at you. I do, because my mind is always, how can we be better? What can we do different? How can we move ahead? I'm always of the mindset that we keep doing everything possible and success will meet us. Every big thing that has happened in my literary life is because I was prepared for it. I was somewhere where success was waiting for me. And that's why I pushed the tribe. We're going to do this together. We're going to do the cavalcade. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're constantly putting ourselves out there. Somebody on NetGalley, hear this. You saw how yesterday Sylvia Day got somebody saw her self-published work on NetGalley, and they picked her up for a major house, and now she's a multi-million bestseller. I just say, let's be everywhere we need to be, where somebody sees us and says, you know what? Those people got it going on. I don't want to just pick up one person. I need to pick up the whole tribe. That's the thought process. So I don't necessarily mean to overwhelm, but I work a 9 to 5. I'm editing, I'm doing the series. So when something comes down and the information comes down, that's when y'all get those long ass posts with all that stuff. And I try, y'all don't realize I actually pare it down, because sometimes it's more than that. And then I try to pare it down to just what's needed, because I realize it's a lot. But I don't think you guys have realized how far we have come in such a short amount of time, because we are a tribe. If you can't reach out to me, you can reach out to Anita. Everybody can reach out to each other. And I need this kind of family, because I have very little biological family in my life. I actually brought them over to writing, and they're tribe now. The people who I want really to have that interaction, they're biological family, but they're also my literary family, because that is important to me. So for you to say how tribe is important to you, because sometimes I'm like, she doesn't really need tribe. She already got it going on. For you to explain that we are important to you, I think that was, to me, that's. Okay, next guest. Thank you, JD. You told us where everybody to reach you in all the places, and you did. Your website, you told us all of that. I'm so discombobulated right now. I'm going to share this one last time before we bring this on. Oh, okay. I'm getting my breath. Okay, thank you, JD. I really appreciate you sharing that, because as tribe, we needed to hear that, because a lot of people, they're a little afraid when you ask for, hey, could you read this? And then how's she gonna listen to me? They don't know that you really mean it. They get a little intimidated and think that, well, she's way up there. How am I gonna tell her she need to fix this, and this, and other? But they don't realize, as authors, we become blind to our work. We know how it's supposed to be that way. And having somebody else's voice is extremely important. So thank you. Thank you. I love you, my sister.
Thank you. Love you too.
Okay, you're gonna hang in the backyard. You're gonna hang out while Tyora is here. You're gonna
I'm gonna be in and out. I'm behind on this chapter, so but I'm gonna be in and out. Put me in the background for now.
Or all you have to do is turn off your video and you'll disappear, but you'll still be a panelist.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I wasn't expecting to do no crying today.